Have you ever wondered why that sudden 3 a.m. motivation just completely disappears by the next morning? I don't know about you guys, but I've definitely felt this, or I'll have this sudden motivation at 3 in the morning. I'll get down and do some push ups and feel like I have a plan to get the life that I want, only for that motivation to be completely gone by the next morning. For those of you that haven't experienced this sensation, it goes a little something like this. Imagine you get home from another long day of work or school, and you're ready to kick your feet up for the next 8 hours. Time gets away from you for the night, and the next thing you know, it's 2 in the morning and you have to be up early the next day. As you lay in your bed in the late hours of the night, you can't sleep and your mind begins to wander. Being that it's so late, things are already feeling a little wobbly in your head. You start thinking about what your life could be like if you had just spent more time working towards your goals instead of sitting around all night. And since your brain isn't really thinking straight, it gives you a feeling that all of this needs to be done as soon as possible. So you decide to take action right now. You do a couple flights of stairs or do some push ups and start thinking of all the goals that you want to accomplish, only this time, you'll definitely stick to it. And then when you wake up in the morning, you can't help but look back and just wonder where all of that motivation went. After lots of research, I have come up with 5 reasons as to why this motivation starts in the first place and then why it disappears by the next morning. The first one is that you have time for reflection. See, being up that late, you aren't really thinking logically. Obviously, your brain is tired and it isn't working at its full capacity. On top of that, you're all alone with nothing but your thoughts. During the day, we're always in go mode and constantly distracted by things in our everyday lives. But that late at night, with no distractions, man, you can get really deep in thought really fast. And I mean really deep. You begin to think about how different your life would look if you'd put in just a little more effort into the goals that you want to achieve. It gives you a sense of urgency to start and make change. The second reason is due to biological and psychological factors. You see, there's plenty of biological and psychological reasons as to why this motivation appears in the first place and then seemingly just goes away. For example, if you're a night owl, then your peak alertness and energy levels might just occur later in the day, anyways. The time of day in which you are the most alert and do your best work, somebody else might be completely asleep or even struggle to do the most basic of tasks. This, combined with the lack of distractions, can make it easier to tap into the problem solving part of your brain that leads to a feeling of motivation. It's also a lot easier to think of what you're going to do versus actually following through with it. This is because a lot of people don't have the discipline to keep going, and then they give up at some point along the way. Let's take working out, for example. Let's say you want to go to the gym and get into better shape. You might see some really good progress at first, but as you continue to lift and you get more experienced, you might see your progress slow down. You'll reach what a lot of people call a plateau. This plateau can be a really tough obstacle to overcome, and it's not really something that you think about when you're laying in your bed at night, imagining yourself getting into good shape. The third reason is due to everyday responsibilities. This could be going to school, going to work, taking care of your loved ones. There's so much happening in our day that once we get home, all we want to do is just put our feet up and put all of our worries to the side and just relax. This is completely valid, honestly. I mean, who wouldn't want to do that? The only problem is it makes it a little bit harder for us to have the motivation to work towards our goals. And normally, when we're done with our responsibilities, we're so worn out that we decide to just call it a day. The fourth reason is due to a lack of planning. Let's use our example from earlier that you're going to go to the gym and try to get into better shape or just take your health more seriously. It's easy when you're laying in bed to say, I want to get into shape, versus figuring out and making a plan for what it actually takes. For starters, you have to find a gym and pay for a membership. Then you have to figure out when during the day you want to work out. Then you have to figure out what muscle groups you're going to work out and on what days. How are you going to diet? And are you going to have the patience to keep going even when you don't see results right away or if you reach that plateau? These are all things that you need to think about. And when you wake up the next morning, you realize that when you were lying in bed at night, you didn't actually come up with a plan. And since you don't have a plan, it's easy to just cut the idea altogether and say, nah, I'll just start later. The fifth one, which I think is the most important, is a lack of passion. You see, there are so many things today that can distract you. I've touched on this multiple times throughout the video. You have YouTube, TikTok, Netflix, Twitter, literally the entire internet at your fingertips. It can be so easy to just consume, 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 and lose track of time and never actually get anything done. Most important part of all of this, and the one thing you should take away from this video, is that you have to develop discipline. When you're laying in bed at night, yeah, you might have that spark of motivation, but the way to keep that spark going is to be disciplined. The truth is, if getting in shape was easy, everybody would be in shape. If starting a business and becoming a millionaire was easy, everybody would be a millionaire. You have to be willing to put in the work even when you don't want to and if you feel too tired. Nobody achieved their goals by a spark of motivation at 3 in the morning. Motivation comes and goes, but discipline is trudging ahead even when that motivation is gone. After doing this for some time, it'll start to become a part of your lifestyle, and that's when you really start to see progress.